All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, clarity about the roles and responsibilities of parents in raising boys will aid in bringing up a boy into becoming a man. Fathers have a very pivotal role when it comes to the task of raising boys to become men. This is because boys easily pick up the masculine traits from their fathers or men around them. Now, fathers play an essential or especially important role in the training and teaching of their sons. So men cannot be passive in the home. While all children need to be raised with values and general life skills, there are unconscious lessons boys pick up from their father's behavior. Boys learn the act of being a man from the way their father responds to life issue. For instance, how does he love his mom? And, how does he express his masculinity, right? How does he model godly behaviors or his masculinity in the house? So we, as I mentioned earlier, we celebrated Father's Day on Sunday, and all over the world, everybody wished our fathers happy birthday, happy Father's Day, rather. So we want to shine the spotlight on men today, and we're asking, are we teaching them the right values? Who is raising the men who hurt women, and how can we begin to raise our men better, right? So we're asking that question: are we raising them right? If you agree that we're raising you guys right, if not, tell us how to do it better, right? So please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8663. You can also tweet at us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag #WayShow. So, I mean, this is a very interesting conversation. I really love the conversation because it speaks to a lot of things, right? There's so many things. I mean, you hardly go on social media today and not see one story about, a man. I mean, did you guys see that video where the boy had done, I think, a Facebook Live? It was not in Nigeria, where he had done a Facebook Live. The baby was there. He was already calling his parents, please take care of the baby. There's one money somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up killing the girlfriend and shooting himself in, and the baby was left alone. You could clearly tell that this boy, something had happened, but he couldn't handle whatever it was that happened. All he thought to do was, let's just end it. Yeah. So, and this is what we see play out all the time. And, part of the reasons we have a lot of issues today, that we are fighting in the society is because of the way we are raising, the children around us. So that's what, just prompted this question around the men. Since we are trying to also shine the spotlight on men, that's the question. So let me start with Uti Elu. Where do you think I was going?
I don't know.
So what do you think? Do you think we have raised our men right?
Feels like a minefield. Yes and no, because there are good men out there. There are men that were raised right. I think beyond gender, are we raising well-adjusted
children?
Humans. Thank you. Are we raising well-adjusted humans? Are we raising people? Are we raising the little people to grow up to be upstanding members of society who can process their emotions, who can handle stress, the world our parents grew up in fact, the world we grew up in is very different from the world our kids are growing up in. So there is always a shift in the approach to parenting because the world continuously shifts, right? But when we take a look at the men of today, you have the Gen Zs, you've got the millennials, you've got the baby boomers, you've got all the different generations, right? And we see certain behaviors run through. And for me, the core, if we take this story, for example, the man who went out and married 3 wives felt offended, and in fact, to the extent where he took a life because he felt that another man had been playing in his territory.
Yeah.
The first thing that I will speak to, which of course we've talked about many times on the show, patriarchy. A lot of the, will I say, 60s, 70s, even some 80s kids all play strongly in this space. So you hear a man talking to a woman and he says, I won't talk to you because I have one like you at home. There is a cultural element that has fed that narrative, right? So when we talk about the concept of raising right versus wrong, what are you defining right and wrong based on? Because if culturally that was allowed to thrive.
Yeah. So that makes it right.
That was right at the time. But because, like I said, every generation, it shifts.
Has evolved.
And it evolves, thank you. So you see that what was essentially right back then, because I mean, if we even think back to our fathers, a lot of our fathers didn't do emotion. They were, this is what it is, this is, I mean, I love there was a skit that was going around a few days ago. What's that actress, the Jollof Rice actress? What's her name? The one we're watching in that movie.
Which one?
Selena? What's her name?
Oh, yeah. Bimbo. When she did
the video with her dad, the prank on her dad.
Yes.
You could see that her dad was an old school dad.
Yes, now. Pregnancy for her understand it. So they say, I'm dad. He was
like, the man was like, she hadn't even said
it. Never.
He overheard it. Do you know what I mean?
Talking about pregnancy?
You know what I mean? So imagine that kind of father, and then juxtaposed to the fathers of today. Fathers of today, they have conversations. In our day, when your father comes in, you just hear doors, back. Everybody's outside.
They're not even there.
But now you see kids who sit there. Dad will come in, they'll be like, hi, Dad.
Why?
And you're like,
help me get that thing. It's like, what?
So, you know, today's dads are all soft and mushy and, you know. So, again, this is the progression. So, when we talk about are we raising right? Right for which times is my question.
Okay, so let's move on to Lide.
Okay, it's not so much are we raising right, it's who exactly is raising them. Because the women that complain the most tend to be the ones that give the men, these young boys, this air of, what will I call it? When they seem to be immune from any kind of discipline and
chores at home and everything.
Chores at home, you raise them to be so-called kings. But you don't realize at the same time that the kind of men you regretted marrying or being in cahoots with are what you're raising again for someone else to deal with. So you're married to somebody, I'm talking from this emotional marriage point now. A woman marries into a family where her voice is never heard. She's never given the opportunity to speak up for what she wants. She has a mother-in-law that seems to be a mother-in-law from hell, telling her that whatever her husband wants is what he gets and you don't have a right to speak. But she then does the same thing to her son. And then when she has a daughter that is coming in as a daughter-in-law, she's treating the child the same way she was treated and she didn't like. It's just a cycle that keeps going on. It's almost as if they find it hard to unlearn those same behaviors that they complain about over and over again. A lot of times, for instance, in America, it seems to be rampant to have baby mamas. Nobody even seems to be looking forward to having the marriage the way it's supposed to be anymore. You have people like Nick Cannon coming out, being the father of Abraham to like 500 women. And then you have, I mean, because I follow these American artists a lot, so I don't know who to compare them to. Maybe Two-Face, maybe. Ouch! Straight bullet.
See, where Two-Face they learn when Nick Cameron.
When Nick Cameron, and then there's also a guy called Young Jock that paraded like 13 children. Another one paraded like 37 children, and the women that keep going to lay with them, yes, to have these babies that you know that they don't even have life supports to give. They'll be child supported along with. They don't have it to give, but you keep laying with them because you think they have a name or whatsoever. When you let them get away with all sorts, how are you going to train the children you birth by them that you ought to be different?
Absolutely. You know what? Let's take a very quick break because I really want to open our phone lines early today. Then when we come back, I'll hear Norma's initial thoughts. You know, there was a video of that wedding video that the man, because he failed, you know, he failed a small quick game they played on the wedding reception. Did you see that Chinese man now? On the wedding, I think it was you that sent that he gave her a spank on the head, boa. Because he
lost the game.
He lost the game live at the wedding reception. I said, who raised this young man?
His mother will be sitting there very proud.
We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, is our ladies' night out, and we are asking, have we raised our men right? Right? Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WeShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WeShow. Please, our phone line is now open. You know the rules. Turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear ourselves. The number to call is 07025007749. So, Unoma, I've not taken your initial thoughts on the topic.
It's interesting because the times that we are in is very critical, so to speak. And in answer to that question, have we raised our men right? We did a good job, but over time now, that good job is highly relative depending on whose side it's falling on. So you have people with different ideologies about parenting now. Oh, some people say, oh, don't chastise my son or my daughter. I will do it
Focus
myself.
on the son today. Focus on the
okay,
son.
let's go.
It does not cook, it does not clean. You have to be.
You know. And then where did we get, how did we get here where a lot of things have been watered down over time? It's still back to the different experiences that people have had and the decisions that they've consciously or unconsciously made to say, okay, if I went through this, I wouldn't want my children to go through that. But at the end of the day, they forget that some of the things that they seemingly went through is what made them who they are today. And then if you do not give certain opportunities to children, to the boys, they would not become the men that they're supposed to be today. So today's world now, we have a lot of entitled young men. We have people who have refused to be responsible, so to speak. We have people who are not vulnerable. They're not intimate because they learned that from their parents.
Men should be hard.
That men should be hard. Men should not cry. Boys should not do this or that. Show emotion. You have people who are not original or authentic in who they are. They want to be like other people because that's the norm. That's what's reigning, what's trending. You have people who are always entitled. So you have conversations. Sometimes when I have conversations with young people, especially the women folk, you hear them say that as in, I don't know if it's a baby that I'm talking to, because you see a full-grown man, some of the things he does. There was a video I saw the other day, and they said, okay, a guy and a woman, they were dating, and then while maybe she was feeling very lovey-dovey with herself, decided to take a scoop of food from the guy's plate. And the guy just started, you know how children throw tantrums? I started doing like this and laid down on the floor and rolled on the floor. She was shocked. That you could see the shock on her face. But that could have been a skit, but it represents a whole lot what we have to deal with in the boys of these times, in the so-called boys to men of these times. And if parents are not careful, if they are not paying attention, we probably won't have boys or men. In fact, men will go extinct, really, because the mindset that we have about men, or we've been taught over time, is that they are the head. You know, it's like the figure, the pace setter, the leader, so to speak, and all of that. But we hardly have men who want to take responsibility today. Most men are looking for women who are made, and then they are the ones playing the victim now. Oh, and entitled. Oh, you must do this and do that.
Question, Noma.
Right?
When I hear you say something around, you know, we might not have men these days, and I'm asking this question, really, can we define who a man is?
Let me
clearing throat.
let me try to answer that question. Now, if you're looking at it gender-wise, that might bring up all sorts of, discussion, so to speak. But for the man figure, let me put it that way, the man figure in a home or in a house or a person, as a person, is somebody who is able to make decisions for themselves, come to that point where you can make decisions, where you are clear about who you are and you can stand for yourself. A man is somebody who who has the ability to lead, whether it's in his home or wherever he has
But are these
level
not
of
all
authority.
common traits that should go with every
And
human
this
being?
is not, well, we're talking about men now. And I wanted to just add that this is something that should cut across humanity. Everyone should be able to rise up to what they should be as human beings, right?
Okay.
So if a man who is, in terms of figurehead now, because when it comes to authority, somebody has to lead. So in the context of family, the man is expected to lead the home front. Right. So that is the context in which I was saying. Now, if you have men who cannot, okay, let me go to the Bible, where the Bible says he will leave and he will cleave. Right? He will cleave to his wife. And then you have people who get married and they're still reporting to the home front. Or you have people...
Norma, don't go. Hold on. Let me take okay. Because that one, you are treading on dangerous territories.
I know.
Okay, you're live from Abuja. Thank you for calling. Hello?
TV.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. So the question is, have we raised our men right? Okay, so I'd like to say that our parents have tried their best to raise the boys as much as they know how to. For example, I am married, and I remember when I was growing up, we had some things that the girls did and other things that the guys did, But now that I'm married, my husband supports me when it comes to household chores and all of that, And then talking about leading, there are different types of leading. If you ask me from my experience, you have financial leadership, economical leadership, emotional, and all of that. Yeah. Even spiritual. There are times when I expect, as the head of the home, priest of the home, as they are called, you should be the one to wake us up in the morning to say, okay, let us pray. It's not happening, and then that's the atmosphere I want to create my home. I lead in that area. So because it creates a good atmosphere, everything just works out well, we bond and all of that. Financially, he makes the money and all of that, but when it comes to planning the money, he's not very good with it. So what do? I take the lead in that area. I'm good with planning and all of that, and he allows me access, to the money to plan it and all of that and all of that. So all of these things, they all have their own various segments. But when it comes to whether our parents have, if we have raised our men right, they have done the best they can do. So it's now left for what's left to be worked out, by the women and by the man if he's willing and open for learning.
Okay.
So that's
Thank you so much. Okay.
Men are meant to provide, protect, and profess. It's always been what was expected of a man. It was when women started demanding equal rights because they had to go out and work that lines started getting blurred about what a man is and what a woman is. Now, most times now when women want to justify themselves in certain behaviors, they say, I'm bringing in as much money as you are, or I brought something to the table, as if that stops a man from being a man. We need to respect, I feel, we need to respect a man being a man as an authority in itself if you're going by the Bible or by religion or by spirituality, that the man is a head, but the woman is still a neck. So if you decide to get stuck, the head can't do so much. When we say, are we raising our men right? I think about it being about sensitivity and empathy for the other gender, for human beings in general, but particularly for the other gender. Because if I have experienced a man being a woman myself, and then I experience a man being a mother to someone of the male gender, I have to know what it is that I dealt with when it came to man-to-woman relationship, and then see if there's a better version of that I can help create by nurturing and by advising about sensitivity to people's issues. Because generally, what a man can do nowadays, a woman can do as well, most times.
Yeah, so that's why I need to understand what a man is, who a man is. We have George from Benin, I believe. Thank you for calling. Oh, from Enugu, sorry. Thank you for calling. You're live.
All right, I'm on. Okay. Well, I'm really enjoying your topic, but I think if we go the way we are going now, we'll make it too academic. I think it's just a thing of the man. To be a man is not because you are producing children, but because you live up to your responsibility. And it cuts the same way for the woman, because the woman was made from the man. So it's not like the man and the woman, they are different. They are just the same thing, but just doing different things for what will be good for the family, for the community, and for the world. I think what we should just do is have an open mind in terms of what is good for the good is good for the gander. Knowing full well that whatever the man enjoys, if the woman enjoys also, the community is built on just doing things that for the better place.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, George.
I'd like to hear you talk on this.
It's interesting. I think that for me, I like to look at the shifts. So when you talked about women now going out and earning money, I'm old school, right? I don't care how much I make. I think that some roles are gender specific.
Yes.
Right? I think that, and this is me who is full on killing it on both sides. I'm going to toot my own horn. Leave it alone. But anyway, I feel that no matter what, right, a man has to understand that I have a place of responsibility, I have a place of leadership, I have a place of protect. I love the way you define that, by the way. All of those things come down to one key thing for me, is responsibility. You must understand your responsibility and you must live up to it. Now, the shift for me is women now have earning power. We go out there, we're killing it, we're blazing trails. In fact, a lot of women have become the breadwinners financially. Yeah. Now, there are bad eggs in the bunch, no doubt. But what I feel is that a lot of the time, women start earning. And I remember when men used to now start asking women, what are you bringing to the table?
Okay, let's hold on. I think we have Loma from Abia State. Okay. It's a serious matter. You're live.
Good evening, my sister.
Hi, Loma. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is Loma.
Go ahead. Thank you for calling.
See, let me just tell you. The problem we are having these days is that was what a woman can do. So what a man can do, a woman can do it better. Is the problem we are having. In those days, our parents will raise male child in a way that he will stand as an army to stand against external aggression against the family. But these days, because of what a man can do, woman can do better. The parents now tend to put their whole eyes on the women, on the girl child, to make sure they raise them well than the male child. So, if we are to say the male child, they raise them well, it was in those days. But this time around, men doesn't have mouth again. You don't talk again because if you talk too much, a woman will shout to them, sit down there. What you can do, I can do it better than you. So what we need to do is to let people know. Nobody said a man should overshadow the women, but let it be done the way it was created from creation, that man is the head. So that they will still have the voice, because very soon, just our sister said, men will start going and things. We will allow women to do everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We struggle to hear him a little bit, but let's take some comments quickly because...
Okay, so good evening, ladies. We've not been raising the men rights. In the earlier days, Boys were raised to be semi-king, playing and not allowed to do house chores, but now even modern parents are still discriminating against their girls. Most times you hear mothers saying things like, don't you know he's a boy and you're a girl? When that happens later on, what then happens later on? The women are abused by men, treated as slaves and second-class citizens. Most times, empowered women and ladies encounter issues in families, work, society, and even church when they try to show that they are humans and not just objects. We need to start raising boys right till they'll turn out to be better men in the future who have regard for women. Thank you, Bissy.
Okay, go ahead. Nama, you comment quickly.
Okay, this is from Daniel. It says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #Ways. The question is, have we raised our men right? The answer is yes, according to my dear beautiful sister Norma. The women have raised the men right, but the men have decided to frustrate the effort of the women that have decided to raise them well and in the right way through their character and maybe words. Concerning the man who shot the woman, they did the right thing by sentencing him to death by hanging. He who lives by the sword must die by the sword. He should be given a taste of his own medicine. There is someone special in the studio today. Sister Laide, good to see you again. Missed you a lot. My name is Daniel Ilo, Ways regular fan. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you so much.
So
there was, I had Ways fans.
You have one. So I was going to say that there was something like they raised about emotions.
Yeah, sensitivity.
Sensitivity,
Yeah,
that was the word.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the biggest issue, if you ask me,
Yeah.
that we've seen. But we have a caller from Lagos. Thank you for calling. You're live.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Okay, great topic. My name is Devo.
Oh, Devo. Hi, Devo. Hi.
Good to hear from you.
Right. Loving the topic. Although it's kind of funny how women have decided to discuss how they're raising the men. And it's a sad response, actually. And I will respond on behalf of
men.
mankind. Because the truth is, the way life has made us to be, both the woman and the man add something to raising any child. Therefore, only a man, only a father, only a man can raise a boy into fatherhood. But because we've been failing, that's why you're asking this question today. How are we raising our men? And anytime women have to stand up, whenever a pastor says, can all the fathers stand up? It just shows you how we are failing again. And unfortunately, because fatherhood has no excuse, the responsibility required to raise a child cannot be excused on the altar of being busy, of going to work, of having too much pressure in your life. It comes with it. So my challenge is that every man should support his family, should support also women who are single and are still raising children, because it's never an easy task, so that we can become the true fathers that our children require to become productive and sensible people in society. Honestly, it's a sad response, but fatherhood, which is the leadership that comes with responsibility, is lacking.
Absolutely.
But we will do better. We are sorry, women.
Thank you
We are
for
sorry
saying
we
that.
have been so poor in
Thank
our
you so
delivery,
much.
but we will do our best.
We appreciate
Thank
it if
you,
you do
Devo.
better.
They say when you know better, you do better.
Yeah. So,
I
and
think
that
it
was
should be
why-
for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, sadly, we have so many calls coming in, but we can't take more calls. But that was why I was saying, because when she harped on sensitivity, right, I need us to get to that point where it is okay for us to say, you know what, I also have emotions too. Because again, a lot of times, what I've seen in the society, that you bottle up so many things, you don't express, then you end up, you know, leaving out your frustration on the person that you're with.
It's
As
gonna-
suppose,
it needs an
you know,
outlet, and
yes,
it's gonna
you need an
find a
outlet,
way
and whether you
out.
like it or not, it
It's
will
gonna
find a way.
find a way
And
out.
usually, when it does find its own way
it
out,
will be
it's
violent.
never
Most
it's
times
never a
it's
good
not-
way out, right? So I'm just hoping that, you know, we can, because if we look at the ills of the society today, right, just backtrack it, you see that there's a big gap, right? There's a big gap when it comes to fatherhood, right?
And the vote touched
Yeah.
on it because a lot of what you see is because the fathers are not present.
Yes.
That's why I said earlier that men will go extinct because whether you like it or not, most times people hammer on the fact that, oh, provide, but the providing is not just financial. That's only part of it. The emotional provision is very key. So one thing I want to quickly say is that, like, for example, my husband is not always around, but I have discovered that most times once he comes in, I disappear. Why? And that was intentional.
deliberate.
Because they need to feel that, okay, he was, even though he had to travel all the time, but when he's around, he is present, he's there for them. And it's very important because it informs the children. The programming will help them when they too become adults and become the fathers that will father other children.
I think we need to do more of this conversation.
Yeah,
But
it
thank you
will
so
never
much,
be
Lady. We've run out of time. Thank you, Lady. Thank you, Norma.
Thanks for
Thank you,
having
Uti.
me.
We always have you. All right, so before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at PlusTvAfrica. You can like, share, invite your families and friends to watch and follow conversations, right? Thank you so much to everyone that called, sending their messages. You keep us excited, you know, when you engage us like that, because we also love to hear what you say all the time. So if you missed today's quote, here it is again, right? It says, you are not just raising your son. That's what you should think about. You're raising someone's husband and you're raising somebody's father. So raise him well. This is really important. And when we are talking about raising, we're not limiting it to women. The responsibility of raising a child is both parties. So that's why we have to come together as a tag team. We'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. tomorrow as we bring you another great conversation. Enjoy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.